Fall Beit Cafe. I started to think of my act for this Beit Cafe, but the trouble is I really don't have any actual talent. I thought there's the part where I prepare the material for class before it's actually due, but I don't think that would be very good for this. So instead, I decided that I would take a look at a philosophical text that's meant a lot to me and that I thought has been relevant to our year here. It's a French sort of modern, postmodern, post-structuralist look at the way language mediates our understanding of religion and culture. Anyway, I thought of it many, many times, especially during my class with Zohara. But I hope that it will be edifying for y'all. It's written from a Christian perspective, but I thought about this group and I thought that, you know, you'd be able to handle it. And I think it's relevant. So I'm going to read you this essay by John Paul Sartre.
Yeah!
Oh, excuse me, David Sedaris. It is called Jesus Shaves. And what does one do on the 14th of July? Does one celebrate Bastille Day? It was my second month of French class, and the teacher was leading us in an exercise designed to promote the use of one, our latest personal pronoun. Might one sing on Bastille Day, she asked? Might one dance in the street? Somebody give me an answer. Printed in our textbooks was a list of major holidays accompanied by a scattered arrangement of photographs depicting French people in the act of celebration. The object of the lesson was to match the holiday with the corresponding picture. Normally, when working from the book, it was my habit to tune out my fellow students and scout ahead, concentrating on the question I'd calculated might fall to me. But this afternoon we were veering from the usual format. Questions were answered on a volunteer basis, and I was able to sit back and relax, confident that the same few students would do most of the talking. Today's discussion was dominated by an Italian nanny, two chatty Poles, and a pouty, plump Moroccan woman who had grown up speaking French and had enrolled in the class hoping to improve her spelling. She covered these lessons in 3rd grade and took every opportunity to demonstrate her superiority. By the end of the first day, she'd raised her hand so many times that her shoulder had given out. Now she just sat back and shouted out the answers, her bronzed arms folded across her chest like some great grammar genie. We finished discussing Bastille Day, and the teacher had moved on to Easter, which was represented in our textbook by a black and white photograph of a chocolate bell lying on a bed of palm fronds. And what does one do on Easter, she asked. Would anyone like to tell us? The Italian nanny was attempting to answer when the Moroccan student interrupted. Excuse me, but what's an Easter? I mean it, she said. I have no idea what you people are talking about. Our teacher then called on the rest of us to explain. The Poles led the charge to the best of their ability. It is, said one, a party for the little boy of God, who calls himself Jesus. And, she faltered, and her fellow countrymen came to her aid, he calls himself Jesus, and then he died one day on 2 morsels of lumber. The rest of the class jumped in, offering bits of information that would have given the Pope an aneurysm. He died one day, and then he go above of my head to live with your father. He weared of himself the long hair, and after he died, the first day he come back here for to say hello to the people. He nice, the Jesus. He makes the good things, and on Easter we be sad because somebody makes him dead today. Part of the problem had to do with vocabulary. Simple nouns like cross and resurrection were beyond our grasp, let alone complicated reflexive phrases such as, to give of yourself your only begotten son. Faced with the challenge of explaining the cornerstone of Christianity, we did what any self-respecting group of people might do. We talked about food instead. Easter is a party for to eat of the lamb, the Italian nanny explained. One, too, may eat of the chocolate. And who brings the chocolate, the teacher asked. I knew the word, so I raised my hand. The rabbit of Easter, he bringeth the chocolate. Rabbit? The teacher said, index fingers on top of her head. One of these? A rabbit? Well, sure, I said. He come in the night when one sleep on a bed. With a hand, he have a basket and food. The teacher sighed and shook her head. As far as she was concerned, I had just explained everything that was wrong with my country. No, she said. Here in France, the chocolate is brought by a big bell that flies in from Rome. I signaled for a timeout. How do the bell know where you live? Well, she said, how does a rabbit? It was a decent point, but at least a rabbit has eyes. I mean, that's a start. Rabbits move from place to place, while most bells can only go back and forth, and they can't even do that on their own power. On top of that, the Easter Bunny has character. He's someone you'd like to meet and shake hands with. A bell has all the personality of a cast-iron skillet. Who wants to stay up all night so they can see a bell? And why fly one in from Rome when they've got more bells than they know what to do with right here in Paris? That's the most implausible aspect of the whole story, as there's no way the bells of France would allow a foreign worker to fly in and take it. That Roman bell, he would be lucky to get work cleaning up after a French bell's dog. And even then, he'd need papers. It just didn't add up. Nothing we said was of any help to the Moroccan students. A dead man with long hair supposedly living with her father. A leg of lamb served with palm fronds and chocolate. Equally confused and disgusted, she shrugged her massive shoulders and turned her attention back to the comic book she kept hidden beneath her binder. I wondered then if without the language barrier, my classmates and I could have done a better job making sense of Christianity, an idea that sounds pretty far-fetched to begin with. In communicating any religious belief, the operative word is faith, a concept illustrated by our very presence in the classroom. Why bother struggling with the grammar lessons of a 6-year-old if each of us didn't believe that against all reason we might eventually improve? If I could hope one day to carry on a fluent conversation, it was a relatively short leap to believing that a rabbit might visit my home in the middle of the night, leaving behind a handful of chocolate kisses. So why stop there? If I could believe in myself, why not give other improbabilities the benefit of the doubt? I told myself that despite her past behavior, my teacher was a kind and loving person who only had my best interests at heart. I accepted the idea that an omniscient God had cast me in his own image, and that he watched over me and guided me from one place to the next. The virgin birth, resurrection, countless miracles, my heart expanded to encompass all the wonders and possibilities of the universe. A bell, though, that's fucked up.